Welcome back to the deep dive. We're diving into something essential for really all relationships: trust. We've got a ton of research and insights to explore, and you know what? Turns out trust might actually be even more important than love itself when it comes to building like a strong, lasting connection.
Yeah. We hear so much about love and communication and all that, but research from the Gottman Institute actually found that couples who rated trust as highly important, they were 3 times more likely to stay together than those who prioritized passion.
Wow.
So it seems that trust, might really be that foundation of a lasting bond.
That's a powerful statistic. So why is trust so crucial? What's actually going on beneath the surface when we talk about trust?
Well, when we break down trust, we find it has 3 core pillars: competency, integrity, and goodwill.
Okay, so let's break those down. Competency, what does that look like in a relationship? I'm picturing someone who can fix a leaky faucet, but I'm guessing it's more than that.
Yeah, it's definitely more than just DIY skills, although those can be a bonus for sure.
Yeah.
But competency in a relationship is about reliability. Can your partner follow through on their commitments? Do they show up when they say they will? Do they have the skills and abilities to handle the responsibilities they take on? If the answer is yes, that builds a sense of competency and in turn trust.
So it's about knowing you can depend on your partner. What about integrity?
Integrity is all about honesty and fairness. It's about knowing your partner will be truthful with you even when it's difficult. It's about, feeling confident that they'll treat you with respect and make decisions that align with their values.
It's that sense of knowing they're not going to play games or try to deceive you.
Exactly. And then finally, we have goodwill. And this one boils down to believing that your partner has your best interests at heart. It's that feeling of knowing they genuinely care about you, they want what's best for you, and they'll act in ways that benefit the relationship, not just themselves.
So these 3 pillars, competency, integrity, goodwill, they're like the legs of a stool. You need all 3 for trust to stand strong.
That's a great analogy. I like that. And building trust based on these pillars doesn't happen overnight. There are 8 key areas that contribute to creating that solid foundation of trust day by day.
8 areas. Okay, I'm ready. Lay 'em on me.
All right, so first up we have clarity. And this is about open communication and setting clear expectations. You and your partner should have a shared understanding of each other's needs, roles, and boundaries in their relationship.
So it's not about assuming you're on the same page. It's about actually talking about it and making sure you are.
Exactly. Then there's compassion. This involves, showing empathy, being there for your partner emotionally, and offering support, especially during challenging times.
Compassion is about truly seeing and understanding your partner's experience, even if you haven't walked in their shoes.
Right. Next, we have character. This goes back to integrity. Both partners should demonstrate honesty, act with integrity, and uphold their values in all situations, even when no one is watching.
So it's about being true to yourself and living in alignment with your principles. That's a powerful trust builder.
Absolutely. Then we revisit competency, ensuring that both partners are dependable, reliable, and capable of fulfilling their commitments.
That reminds me of what we talked about earlier. That sense of knowing your partner will follow through and be there for you. Okay, we're halfway through the list. What's next?
Okay, so next is commitment. This means prioritizing the relationship, investing time and effort, and making decisions that demonstrate you're in it for the long haul.
Commitment is about choosing your partner and the relationship, even when things get tough.
Right. Then there's connection. This involves fostering a strong emotional bond through open communication, quality time, shared experiences, and genuine intimacy.
Connection is about nurturing that sense of closeness and belonging. That makes a relationship special. Okay, what are we missing? 2 more, right?
Yes, 2 more. Contribution. So this means that both partners actively support each other's goals and dreams, celebrating each other's successes, and offering encouragement during setbacks.
It's about being on the same team and wanting the best for each other, not just yourself.
Exactly. And finally, we have consistency. This is perhaps the most crucial element of trust. It's about being reliable and dependable over time so your actions consistently match your words.
Consistency is about showing up authentically and proving through your actions that your partner can truly count on you.
You got it. And if you're consistently working on these 8 areas, clarity, compassion, character, competency, commitment, connection, contribution, and consistency, it's no wonder trust would flourish in your relationship.
Wow. That's quite a roadmap for building trust. It's a lot to keep in mind, but it makes sense. So we've talked about why trust is so vital and the key components that contribute to it. But how do we actually start building that trust, especially in the early stages of a relationship when things are still so new and delicate?
Yeah, building trust from the beginning. It's like setting the foundation for a house. You know, if the foundation is weak, the whole structure is vulnerable.
That makes perfect sense, but those early stages can feel so fragile. It's like walking a tightrope. So how do we start building that rock-solid foundation from day one?
One surprisingly effective approach is creating a vision board together. I know it might seem a little, woo-woo, but hear me out.
Okay, I'm intrigued. I love vision boards.
Yeah.
But how does gluing magazine cutouts to a poster board actually build trust?
It's not just about the craft project itself, right? It's about the conversations that happen while you're creating it. So when you build a vision board together, you're taking the time to discuss your dreams, your goals, your fears, your hopes for the future. You're aligning your visions for what you want to create, both individually and as a couple.
So it's like a tangible representation of your shared dreams and aspirations.
Exactly. And that act of working together towards a common vision, even if it's just a collage on a poster board, it strengthens your bond and builds trust because you're showing each other that you're invested in each other's happiness and success.
I never thought about it that way, but it makes so much sense. Okay, so vision boards, check. What else is essential for building trust in those early stages?
Vulnerability. I know it can feel scary to open up when you're just getting to know someone, but the truth is, vulnerability is a powerful trust builder. Brené Brown, a researcher who's dedicated her career to studying vulnerability, says that vulnerability is the birthplace of love, belonging, joy, courage, empathy, and creativity.
So she's saying that without vulnerability, we can't truly experience those deep, meaningful connections.
Exactly. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable with your partner, you're essentially saying, I trust you with my heart. And when they respond with empathy and understanding, that reinforces the trust and deepens the connection.
That makes sense. But it's easier said than done. Any tips for navigating vulnerability, especially in a new relationship?
Start small. You don't have to reveal your deepest, darkest secrets right away. It's about finding that balance between protecting yourself and allowing your partner to see the real you. Maybe you share a small fear, a silly quirk, or a childhood memory that's meaningful to you.
So it's about dipping your toes in the vulnerability pool before diving headfirst.
Precisely. And as the relationship progresses and trust grows, you can gradually share more, revealing different layers of yourself over time. And as you both become more vulnerable with each other, that reciprocity creates a sense of safety and closeness that's essential for a strong bond.
That's really helpful. So we've got vision boards for aligning our dreams,
Right.
vulnerability for building emotional intimacy. What else is important in those early stages?
Setting clear boundaries from the get-go. This is about ensuring both partners feel safe, respected, and comfortable in the relationship.
Boundaries. That's such a buzzword these days. But what does it actually look like in practice?
It's about having open and honest conversations about each person's needs and expectations. What are your deal breakers? What are your non-negotiables? What are your preferences when it comes to communication, personal space, time with friends, social media, and so on?
It's about being upfront about your needs and expectations, and also respecting your partner's boundaries, even if they're different from yours.
Exactly. And by establishing clear boundaries early on, you're setting the stage for a relationship built on mutual respect and understanding, which are crucial components of trust.
So we've covered vision boards, vulnerability, and boundaries. That's a pretty solid foundation for trust in those early stages. But what about the physical aspect of a relationship? How does that tie into building trust?
That's a great question. Physical connection can actually be a huge trust builder. And it's not just about romantic or sexual intimacy. Even simple acts of physical affection can have a powerful impact on trust. Like, have you heard of the cuddle hormone?
Okay, I'm all ears. Tell me more about this cuddle power.
Well, studies have shown that just 15 minutes of cuddling can trigger a surge of oxytocin, which is often called the bonding hormone or the cuddle hormone.
I love that there's actual scientific evidence supporting cuddle time.
Right. And oxytocin isn't just a feel-good hormone, it actually plays a significant role in building trust. It reduces activity in the amygdala, which is the fear center of the brain. So when you're cuddling with your partner, you're not only feeling, warm and fuzzy, but you're also literally calming your nervous system and creating a sense of safety and security.
So it's like a biological trust-building mechanism.
Exactly, and that sense of safety and security is essential for trust to flourish.
So regular cuddle time is officially on the trust-building agenda. What other physical connections can boost trust?
Eye gazing is another powerful technique. I know it might sound awkward, but research suggests that holding your partner's gaze for even 2 minutes can increase oxytocin levels, leading to feelings of connection, intimacy, and yes, trust.
I've heard about eye gazing before, but I always thought it was more of a spiritual practice.
Yeah, it definitely has spiritual aspects, but there's a scientific basis for it as well. When you gaze into your partner's eyes, you're engaging in a form of nonverbal communication that conveys deep presence and attention. It's like you're saying, I see you, I'm here with you, and I'm fully present in this moment with you.
That's so beautiful. And it makes sense that that kind of deep connection would foster trust.
Right. And beyond cuddling and eye gazing, pay attention to your partner's body language. Are they leaning in when you talk? Are they making eye contact? Are they mirroring your movements? These are all signs of engagement and connection, which contribute to a sense of trust and safety.
So we're not just building trust through words, we're also communicating and reinforcing it through our physical interactions.
Exactly. It's all interconnected.
This has been so insightful. I feel like we've already covered so much ground, from vision boards to vulnerability to the power of cuddling and eye gazing. But I know there's still more to explore when it comes to building trust.
Yeah, absolutely. We haven't even delved into the crucial role of communication or the importance of shared activities.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We've been exploring this amazing world of trust, why it's so important, what it's made of, and how to start building it in those early stages of a relationship. But we haven't talked about communication yet, and I know that's a biggie.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Communication is the lifeblood of any healthy relationship. But it's especially crucial for building and maintaining trust. It's about creating a space where both partners feel safe and comfortable expressing their thoughts and feelings, and their needs, honestly and openly.
So it's not just about talking, it's about how we talk. What are some communication habits that can really erode trust in a relationship?
Well, one of the biggest trust busters is stonewalling, when one partner shuts down completely during a conflict and refuses to engage in conversation.
Oh, I know that one all too well. It's like talking to a brick wall. It can be so frustrating.
Exactly. And stonewalling sends the message that you're not interested in your partner's perspective or working towards a resolution. It can leave the other person feeling unheard, unimportant, and ultimately betrayed.
So what's the antidote to stonewalling? How can we communicate in a way that strengthens trust, even during disagreements?
One powerful technique is active listening. It's about truly focusing on what your partner is saying without interrupting, judging, or immediately jumping in with your own perspective. It's about reflecting back what you're hearing to make sure you understand, and asking clarifying questions to gain a deeper understanding.
So it's about putting your own thoughts aside for a moment and really tuning into your partner's experience.
Exactly. When you actively listen, you're communicating respect, empathy, and a genuine desire to understand. And that can go a long way in building trust, even when you're disagreeing.
Active listening check. What other communication tools can help build trust?
Remember those I feel statements we talked about earlier? They're gold when it comes to communicating effectively and building trust.
Refresh my memory. How do they work again?
So instead of blaming or accusing your partner, which can put them on the defensive, you focus on your own emotional experience. You might say, I feel hurt when you don't call me back. Or I feel appreciated when you help with the dishes.
It shifts the focus from blame to understanding, which is so important for healthy communication.
Exactly. And it encourages your partner to do the same, creating a more open and empathetic dialogue.
I love that. So we've got active listening and I feel statements. What about fun communication exercises?
You remember the 3 and 3 game from part 2? That's a great way to encourage open communication, vulnerability, and a deeper understanding of each other's perspectives.
Right. Each person shares 3 good things and 3 not so good things about each other. It's lighthearted, but also super insightful.
Exactly. It can spark interesting conversations and help you see your partner in a new light.
So communication is key for building trust. What about shared activities? How can those strengthen our bond?
Shared activities, especially those that require teamwork and collaboration, can be incredibly bonding. When you work together towards a common goal, whether it's tackling a home improvement project, training for a marathon, or even just cooking a meal together, you're relying on each other, supporting each other, and celebrating each other's strengths.
It's that we're in this together feeling.
Exactly. And those shared experiences create memories, inside jokes, and a sense of shared history. That deepens your connection and strengthens your bond.
What about activities that push us outside of our comfort zones?
Those are fantastic for building trust. Trying new things together, like signing up for a dance class, going on a hiking adventure, or even just exploring a new part of your city, can inject excitement into your relationship and help you grow both individually and as a couple.
It's about supporting each other's growth and being each other's cheerleaders.
Right. And let's not forget about the importance of regular date nights.
Date nights are essential for any relationship, but how do they specifically tie into trust?
Date nights are dedicated time for just the two of you to connect, away from the distractions of everyday life. It's a chance to have meaningful conversations, share your thoughts and feelings, laugh together, and simply enjoy each other's company.
It's about prioritizing your relationship and making time for each other, even when life gets busy.
Exactly. And that consistent effort reinforces the trust and intimacy in your relationship.
So good communication, shared activities, and regular date nights. That's a pretty solid recipe for building trust. But what about when trust has been broken? Is it possible to repair it after a betrayal or breach of confidence?
That's a tough one. But the answer is yes, it is definitely possible to rebuild trust. But it's a journey that requires commitment, patience, vulnerability, and a whole lot of work from both partners.
Where do you even begin to mend broken trust? It feels like picking up the pieces of a shattered vase.
The first step is accountability. The person who broke the trust needs to own up to their actions, take full responsibility for the pain they caused, and offer a sincere apology. No excuses, no blaming external circumstances, no minimizing the impact of their actions.
It's about acknowledging the depth of the hurt, expressing genuine remorse.
Exactly. And an apology is just the beginning. The person who broke the trust needs to demonstrate through their actions consistently and over time that they are committed to rebuilding the relationship.
So it's not just about saying the right things. It's about proving your trustworthiness through your behavior.
Absolutely. This might involve things like cutting off contact with the person they were unfaithful with, being completely transparent about their whereabouts, or actively participating in couples therapy. It's about going above and beyond to show their partner that they are serious about earning back their trust.
What about the person who was hurt? What's their role in the healing process?
The hurt partner needs to be willing to forgive, but that doesn't mean condoning the behavior or pretending it didn't happen. It's about choosing to let go of the resentment, anger, and pain so they can move forward, either together or apart.
Forgiveness sounds so difficult, especially when the wound is still fresh.
It's definitely a process, and it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, introspection, and often professional support. But ultimately, forgiveness is about freeing yourself from the burden of the past so you can create a healthier, happier future.
Are there any practical tools or exercises that couples can use to rebuild trust?
One powerful technique is to create a mutual trust agreement. It's essentially a set of guidelines that both partners create and agree to follow to foster trust and safety in the relationship.
So it's like a roadmap for rebuilding trust.
Exactly. It could include things like agreeing to be completely honest with each other, sharing passwords, establishing clear boundaries around communication with exes, or committing to regular check-ins about their feelings.
It brings a sense of intentionality and structure to the rebuilding process.
Right. And beyond specific agreements, establishing healthy communication patterns is crucial. This means practicing active listening, using I feel statements, and avoiding blame and accusations.
Basically, all those communication skills we talked about earlier become even more important when you're trying to repair trust.
Absolutely. Effective communication is the bridge back to connection and intimacy.
This has been such a fascinating and insightful deep dive into the world of trust. We've covered so much ground, from the foundational elements of trust to the delicate process of rebuilding it after a betrayal.
It's been a pleasure exploring this with you. Remember, building and maintaining trust is an ongoing process. It takes effort, vulnerability, and a commitment to showing up for each other day after day.
So to all our listeners out there, keep these insights in mind as you navigate your own relationships. Remember to communicate openly, prioritize quality time, and never underestimate the power of small, consistent actions.
And if trust has been broken in your relationship, don't lose hope. With commitment, empathy, and a willingness to do the work, healing and rebuilding is possible.
Until next time, keep diving deep.